I'm G. Lee. This here's a story about old Tom, lifelong friend of mine years ago. Old Tom seemed like every place I went, there Tom was. Talking to all the farmers all over the county. You see, Tom worked for an implement dealer. He sold the farmers all their equipment and their feed and all their supplies. So everyone knew old Tom real well. Real likable guy. For years, I swear, I saw this guy 10 times a day. It was okay. Tom was a likable guy. Just a real wheeler and a dealer. See, Tom was a big guy. An old Marine. Buzz cut, stocky, 6'5", couldn't miss him. Remember that wrestler, Andre the Giant? He wasn't that big. But old Tom was his little brother. Trust me, you wanted Tom on your side if you got in a fight. That never happened, thank goodness. Anyway. Tom was resourceful. People just gave him stuff all the time. Cars, old tractors. He collected it all, fixed it a little sometimes, sold it, gave it away. I had to know, he gave me a bunch of stuff through the years. I worked for it though. I went down to his gas station. Oh, didn't I tell you? He had a local gas station for about 5 years. And after school, I'd go down and pump some gas for him. Saved him a lot of time because he was a one-man band at that place. He was always working on something in the shop. Two-bay shop. One of them old ones from the 40s and 50s. Really nice place. Called Martin's Service. and tired. One day, old Tom asked me to help him underneath a car. I was terrified to go under them things. I thought it was going to fall on me. He said, "Come on, give me a hand here. I'm having a hard time." I said, "All right." Then I looked under there and it was all greasy and rusty and dirty. I said, "I ain't touching that." He said, "Oh, for goodness sakes, why don't you just go home and put on a dress?" But I helped them. Got greasy and dirty and mumbled and grumbled a lot. Yeah, old Tom. There are some would call him a scrounge. I wouldn't call him that. Like I say, I'd call him resourceful. It was a quid pro quo with Tom. Tit for tat. Wasn't anything he wouldn't do for you if you treated him right and talked nice. Anyway, to make a long story a little longer, one summer I decided I had enough of the small town malarkey and headed off to California to get my life started. I still regret not saying goodbye to him. But he was off doing something, talking to some farmer somewhere. Anyway, I was gone for about a year in Old Town. Stopped back to the old homestead where my dad was. "Where's old G. Lee?" Tom said. My dad said, "She's off trying to make a life for herself in California." And the old Tom said something that surprised me to this day when I talked to my dad on the phone. Old Tom said, "That's great. You tell her to just stay out there. There ain't nothing going on here." And he was so right. Anyway, that's the last time my dad saw him. Till I got back from California. Didn't work out. You know, kids, 2-3 times they try and leave the nest, and they always come back. I'm no exception to the rule. Anyway, I've been back for about 6 months. I said, "Where the hell's old Tom? He's usually driving around, stops in a couple times a month at least." I said to my dad, "I saw his truck drive by the other day. I slowed down and waved. It looked like him in the truck, but he didn't even look at me." I thought that was odd. I knew it was his truck too, because it had a big old dent. in the tailgate. Anyway, I said to my dad, let's go look up old Tom. So we packed up. Headed down to Nashotah, to Tom's house. Picked up a bag of cheese curds at the old cheese factory first for old Tom as like a peace offering. He loved those things. We called them squeakers, little cheese curds. When we got to his house, it looked empty. Something wasn't right. But I went and knocked on the door anyway, just in case. I said to my dad, I guess old Tom moved. I knocked and I knocked and I knocked. No answer. No note on the door saying where he moved to. I said, well, I'll have to ask around and see where old Tom moved to. Then I saw a neighbor come out the door, pick up his mail. I flagged him down for a minute and said, hey, where's Tom? Tom, he said. Who the hell's Tom, he said. I said, the guy that used to live in this house. Oh, that old man, he said. He's dead. Wham. I said, no, we ain't talking about Tom. Big guy. Marine, buzz cut. Yeah, that's that old man, he said. He's dead. His wife left him about a year ago. He had a sale, sold off a lot of his stuff. And one day before he was going into the implement dealer, he didn't quite make it to the front door. And his heart attacked him. And that's that. That's why, my friends, always say goodbye. Never leave on bad terms. I didn't leave on bad terms, but I didn't get to say goodbye. That's life, my friends. Just never know. Good old Tom. I miss that old boy.